Hey, the Pavetta rifle. Drop the gun! Oh, shit! I'm hit. I'm okay. But I'm not gonna die.
Welcome to Badges, Bullets, and Blunders, the show that tells funny cop stories from real people who live them. I'm your host, Travis Harless. Today, our guest is my good friend, Phil Richardi. Phil is a detective at a police agency in California. Phil, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How long what did you do before you became a cop? How long have you been a police officer, and what are some of the assignments that you've worked?
Before I was a cop, I was a student and merchandising grocery stores for minimum wage that wasn't like $20 an hour at the time. I think it was like $9. Wasn't too good. I had never been to the city I work for, but they offered me a job and I've never left. It's just been a beautiful experience. Yeah. So I've been with my agency for about 11 and a half years, worked patrol, worked some specialized quality of life units.
The impact team.
Was a senior officer for a little bit, got to serve under you for a shift. Like you said, I'm currently a detective and just doing it now.
What assignment are you in as a detective?
Currently in homicide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you work in sex crimes too?
I did work in sex crimes. Okay. It was a very interesting time for about 18 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, talk to us about some of your time working in street impact. So what does impact do, and what are some of the things you were involved with there?
It's kind of like a catch-all, like I mentioned, quality of life stuff, but specifically one of the main issues is homelessness, right?
Because we live in California.
Yeah, so
poopy covered California.
See a lot of kind of day walkers walking around, causing problems for business owners and residential areas, what have you. So that was kind of our main calling card for sure. We were kind of known as the bum unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were a cop pre-Prop 47, right?
Yes.
So back when drugs used to be illegal in California.
Yeah, when people used to run and be scared of consequences for having drugs on them. Yeah.
You mean when there were consequences?
Correct.
Okay.
Were, yes.
Yeah, but now that's all gone, so quality of life has kind of taken a sharp downward.
Yeah, the quality has definitely been downgraded, I'd say.
Yeah.
The irony.
All right. Well, talk to us about a homeless call in the park.
Yeah. So
they frequent the parks.
Yes. Parks are very, very active for the homeless community, to say the least. And so when we're in this unit, we had the guys that work for the city to clean up the parks always had us on speed dial, right? Because there's always activity going on, what have you.
It's like meth camping.
Yeah. You know, it's pretty popular place.
Okay.
Never mind the children running around or anything, gotta get our meth camps up. Yeah. So we get a call from some guy with the city and it's just like, hey, there's this guy in the bathroom. He won't leave. In the past, we caught him masturbating in here. It's like, well, that's an issue, right? So we go over there and the dude's crazier than squirrel shit, but he's not masturbating. He's not doing anything illegal, just loitering around a bathroom. We just, hey, dude, it's time to go. Not trying to deal with him. You need to get out of here. You've been here too long. They need to clean the bathrooms. And in his state, he somewhat says okay and walks away. Problem solved, right? Like, don't have to take any action. We're going to leave. So like 30 minutes later, get a phone call from the same guy. He's like, dude, he's back. We're trying to clean the bathrooms, and he's in there. He's acting all crazy. Okay, fair enough. Let's go arrest this guy, get him out of there. So we come back, and I open the door, and this dude is now butt-ass naked. Well, not butt-ass. He had taken off his Tony Romo jersey he was previously wearing. I specifically remember that. And he wrapped it around his face, so now he's looking like a butt-naked Sub-Zero, kind of. Okay. You just see the eyes, right? Like
it's the blue.
Yeah, it's a good wrap. And he had flooded it like a prison cell. Okay. Just plugged the base drain, sinks are going, toilets overflowing, and he's just rolling around in it, just taking a chud bath.
A little bird bath?
Yeah, getting clean.
A little
So
homeless ninja bird bath.
yeah, surprisingly, he actually listens, like stand up, like put your hands behind your back. So we cuff him up. And as me and my partner are walking him out, my partner tries to take off his mask or his jersey, whatever we're going to call it. And he's got this sucker tied tight. It's as if he used zip ties or something on this. And my partner's really adamant on getting this wet jersey off. I don't know if he thought he was waterboarding himself or what, but I mean, he's pulling it from the back and this thing is not coming. I'm just standing at this guy's arm, keeping control of him. And at one point, just like, dude, let's just get him out of the bathroom and get him out of here, whatever. And my partner just eventually gets it off and rips it. And this thing just flings all the liquid. And I'm just standing there next to this guy holding his arm. And as I'm holding his arm, he essentially is giving me a facial. Just. And so at this point, not cool move, right? Yeah. Pretty mad. So I let the guy.
What's in the liquid though?
Just a mixture of everything. Like I said, he'd been flooding this.
Yeah. So park bathroom
floor, like not even involved with him, right? We're talking bathroom floor at a park. Pretty fucking gross. Toilet water.
Yeah.
Urinal water. Urinal cakes.
Yeah.
He had priors for jerking off in there. So, you know, they just a full mixture, kamikaze mix.
Okay.
And so I let the guy go at this point, and I start fighting my partner because I'm just furious. It's the only thing to do. And the homeless guy actually like backs up against the wall and is scared, probably thinking, God damn, if he's doing this to his partner, what's he going to do to me, you know? And so then I'm just like, you know what? It didn't get in my mouth. It didn't get in my eyes. There's no way. Like I felt it on my cheek, right?
Yeah.
And of course, my partner at the time was like, "Yeah, I didn't see it go in your eyes." Like,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, we're good. And then like within like 5 minutes of leaving the park, I was like, "Fuck this!" Like, absolutely not. I went to the place, got the whole flush out, like, and they're like, the odds of you contracting anything from, I don't know, getting a facial from a homeless guy, pretty low. But we could get you on whatever they call that.
The cocktail.
The cocktail, right? And my buddy had just got exposed by being pricked and took it. And he said he was sicker than a dog.
Yeah.
And this was right around some kind of holiday. And I was just like, nah, I'm going to just wing it. To this day, I haven't got tested for like hepatitis, HIV, any of that. I may be walking around with it.
Yeah.
Don't know. But... yeah, just Sub-Zero got me good, man. Just absolutely disgusting.
Nice.
But in that unit, like dealing with homeless people all the time, the stuff you see and deal with and touch, like that was pretty high up there.
Yeah. You don't wear those boots in the house.
No, those boots stay outside.
Yeah. For
sure.
Nice. Yeah, you talked about some kind of fire that you had gone to.
Oh yeah, this was prior to the impact unit. This is just regular call for service.
Yeah.
And get dispatched out to some kind of peace disturbance, domestic, and I get there and the lady's out of the apartment, which is good, right? And she's just like, "Hey, my boyfriend, he's crazy. He tried to light the apartment on fire. He doused gasoline on me," and you could smell it on her. I was like, "Oh shit." She's like, "Yeah, he's doused all the walls. But I'm safe." Cool. Well, we got to get this guy out. We got to figure out what's going on. And it's a 2-story apartment with a balcony. And we get there and we start making our announcements, you know, like, "Hey, come out." And he comes out to the balcony and like brings his German Shepherd out, and he's got this big old butcher knife to his neck. And I was like, "Man, don't stab your dog. Like, just do what you want to yourself. Just let the dog
leave the dog alone."
You know? And he keeps
so he's threatening the dog with a knife
and himself.
Okay.
Us. He's calling some very racially insensitive undertones. Pretty offensive stuff.
Yeah.
And he keeps holding it to his neck, and we're just going back and forth and back and forth, not getting anywhere with this guy, obviously. And he has the lighter fluid and dousing himself, dousing the balcony, and he's lighting matches and like throwing them, but it was stucco, so it's not really sticking and nothing's lighting up. So we come up with a plan. We're like, hey, we had a canine. Let's get a contact team. First 4, and one of us had a fire extinguisher, obviously, the back guy. And I was number 2 in the stack, and we're ready to go. Like, we've come up with this plan. Everybody had their assignments. Go hands-on, less lethal, what have you. Dogs behind us. As we're starting up this, like the stair, starting towards the stairs, this guy goes inside, and you just hear, and you see like this fireball. We're like, holy shit, he's on fire. And so it's like, guy in the back that had the extinguisher, you're number 1 in the stack now, right?
Flame on.
So, and I'm still number 2, and we're running up, and as you get to the top of these second story apartments, there's these.
Was there anybody else in there, or just him and the dog?
Just him. Okay. The dog's still on the balcony. The dog's chilling, like, you fucking moron. So there's that little landing area outside your front door of a apartment. And as we're about to breach the door, he opens it up and he comes out just full Human Torch. And I had never seen anything like that before. Still haven't. And so, like, I'm grabbing the guy in front of me. I'm telling the guy behind me, like, get the fuck down the stairs, because last thing I want is this guy grabbing one of us. We light on fire. So we head down the stairs, and this guy falls to his knees. And it reminded me of one of those, like, movies where I think
Fantastic Four?
Well, yeah, Human Torch, right? Yeah. But
what was his name? I can't remember. Just a character from Fantastic Four.
I think it's Saving Private Ryan when they're storming the beaches and somebody gets popped wearing like the flamethrower, and he goes up. Like, that's what it looked like, and he's just screaming. So he falls to the ground. Number 1 in the stack with the fire extinguisher goes up, and I'm right behind him to go hands. And he starts spraying this thing. And I'm just taking a face full of sulfur at this point, just eating fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
I grab his arm, I hook it, fire extinguisher cat. I'm like, dude, give me his arm so I could finish handcuffing him. He's like, I would, but it's fucking falling off. And he like lifts up his arm, and we're down to bone, dude. Like, all the layers of skin are gone. There's skin just flying everywhere. It's disgusting. And he's just like, his arm's falling off. And, rewind it. Before he puts him out with the fire extinguisher, we have all the busybodies downstairs that aren't involved in the hands team, right? The good idea fairies.
Yeah.
And so as he's engaged, he's on fire, fully engulfed, and somebody's just yelling, shoot him, shoot him. And so I believe they meant like shoot the fire extinguisher, but we're in shock and had a loss of words. So the guy with the fire extinguisher, good friend of ours, looks at me, starts to clear leather. He's like, I shoot him? I was like, no, with the fire extinguisher. Like, he's reverting back to like, well, if you have a really wounded dog that needs to be put out of his misery per policy, we could put him down, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was before he put him out with the fire extinguisher. So we eventually handcuff him, and we're bringing him down the stairs, and full top torso, just gone.
Yeah.
Just charred. And so we have to put him in a recovery position waiting for the fire department. So we lay him down, and didn't realize it at the time, but somebody had just mowed that lawn, fresh cut grass. So when we put him down and skin's all exposed, he's just got lawn clippings everywhere. And it reminded me of one of those old Zima commercials where the guy's just out mowing his lawn, sweating, and like big gust of wind comes up and he's covered in lawn clippings. He's just like, oh, well, let me drink a Zima, and all the lawn clippings fall off. I don't even think a beautiful beverage like a Zima would have helped this cat.
No.
Yeah.
And hope he didn't make it.
He did make it.
Oh, wow.
He had some really superficial wounds from the knife to his neck, because I guess he wasn't really about it, but
Yeah.
it went through his esophagus and
Yeah.
like out. And so when it came time to court, the DA at one point was like, "You think he's been through enough?" I was like, "I don't know. You should probably talk to the victim about that. That's not my call."
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty jacked up. I don't think he's
It's usually the lung burns that get them.
yeah. There was a lot of pneumonia going on.
That kind of reminds me of when you talk about the guy that the officer was being told to shoot him or whatever. When I was pretty new and I had a partner and we were looking 245, a assault with deadly weapon suspect had run from a car stop, and he had hidden in the yard somewhere. We were doing a yard-to-yard search with a canine, and the canine handler, they end up finding this guy hiding in a truck, and the dog goes in and bites him, and he gets him out, and the dog drags the suspect out, and he's got him by the arm, and the canine handler was having trouble getting the dog off the bite. And he's like trying to pull the dog off, and he's got it by the leash, and he's pulling the dog up like this and trying to get off the bite, and the dog wasn't letting go. And there was another officer that was in there who doesn't work for us anymore. His name's Sean. And he looks back at Sean and he goes, "Sean, grab his balls." And Sean's standing there and he looks at the dog, and then he looks at the suspect, and then he looks at the dog, and he looks at the suspect, and he goes, "Whose?"
Solid. I mean, you want to make sure he's grabbing the right set of nuts, right?
It's just thinking like, don't you think this guy's already getting enough? He's getting bit by a dog. You're going to grab his balls too?
Yeah. You don't want to face potential charges, you know.
All right. Talk to us about the stolen property in the strip club.
Yeah. So when I first promoted to detective, I was in burglary, and in burglary, a lot of the shit you get doesn't have any suspect leads or anything. And so when you do have some kind of lead,
So you burglary does like burglary plus all of the shit that nobody else wants to do.
yeah, we just call it property. So when you do get a potential lead, you want to run with it and maybe catch somebody. So there's a local strip club, and in the parking lot, there's a nice boutique. They sell some really nice stuff in there, you know.
Yeah.
Nothing left to the imagination. And so during the initial investigation, I go out there because it had been hit a couple times, and it looked like it was actually like a crew that was cutting the power and breaking deadbolts, propping doors. So more than just your regular smash and grab.
Yeah.
So I'm going through and determining what the loss is.
Organized ball gag theft.
Yeah, and that's what it was. I was like, so what's the loss? And they just have an inventory of dildos and ball gags, penis straws, edible panties, the whole shebang. And they have these...
This is going to go great on the black market.
Yeah, really intricate torsos.
Yeah.
No head, no legs, and they're the expensive item. They're top shelf, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm asking them, like, dude, what do those go for? And they're like, between $700 and $800. Wow. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, you have clientele that buy these? And they're like, we have one guy that comes in every 2 weeks for a new one. I'm just like, Jesus. Like,
Just wearing it out.
yeah, going to town. Like, that's an expensive habit.
Yeah.
But, hey, more power to you, brother. So I take this report, and they've got a roving security guard, and there's a motel behind it and train tracks. Real nice area of town. Yeah. And along the train tracks, there was just encampments for days. You know, the homeless population kind of looked like third world country back there.
Mm-hmm. Some more meth camping.
Yeah. So the people that work at the boutique call me one day. They're like, hey, the security guard thinks he has a lead on your burglary and thinks he may know who did it. It's like, cool, have him give me a call. We'll figure this out. And so I get a call from the security guard, and he tells me, he's just like, hey, I found some of the loss, and there's this homeless encampment. I ran him off, but, you know, I think I could recognize him again. It's like, okay, well, what'd you find? And he's describing the torso. And I was just like, okay, but you don't know their names, you don't know who they are. And as a detective, what normal people don't realize, just because somebody has property that was stolen doesn't mean I can prove they did the actual offense of stealing it, right? And he goes, yeah, but I saved it. If you want to come down and DNA test it, fingerprint it. But I was like thinking to myself, there's not enough DNA tests in this entire city to sift out all the samples that are going to be in this torso. Right? Like you're envisioning this encampment line of 50 camps, and just this torso got passed around like a bottle of Crown on a hot summer's day. And the security guard legit thought I was going to come down and just, come on with me.
It's just soaked like a Tony Romo jersey.
Yeah, just as wet, Nice. It got Dirty Mike and the boys for sure. But the shit we come across, and this guy, God bless his soul, he was trying to help, but he was dead set serious. Like, you'll be able to find who did this.
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to find somebody that violated this poor torso for the 87th time today.
Nice.
Yes.
Talk to us about the Fumigated apartment complex.
Oh, okay. So I'm on FTO at this point.
Field training.
Yeah, field training. My field training officer had like 20-something years on.
And you're right out of the academy.
Yeah. And he was one of the RTOs at my academy, just not the most personable guy. Mm-hmm. You're probably envisioning who it is. During my time with him, the nicest thing he ever told me was like, I've never had to tell you to put your phone away. And I appreciate that. Because everybody, is always on their phones and shit. I was like,
that's the compliment.
It was so nice. I was just like, wow, finally broke through to this guy.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I was like, I never once took a piss. I never ate food with him. Just to set the preface, I have the gift of gab. I like to talk to people. And when you're riding around in a car with somebody for 10 hours, it gets monotonous, right?
Yeah.
And so thought of the perfect opportunity. I was like, hey, there's a bank up here, and if a robbery alarm went off right now, based on where we're at, I would take the north. I'd get on the radio, start setting a perimeter, have the next unit move south, and then we kind of keep eyes on, see if it's normal traffic. I think I'm doing a bitchin' job. Like, been a cop for 2 weeks or something. Like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And as he's driving, I was just like, so that I'm on the right track. He's just like, you got a badge and gun? Figure it the fuck out. I was like, all right, that's where we're at talking about it, right? So we get sent to a burglary call, and it's like a 4-condo duplex, and there's a big tent over it with the red lines and stuff. And I knew that meant don't go in there, let's get it fumigated. I didn't know what they fumigate for, what they pump in. I was a pretty young, naive, stupid kid at the time. But I knew you shouldn't go in there. And the only reason somebody would know it's burglarized is if people had gone in there, right? And so I'm trying to wrap my head around this. We got 4 different condos. That's 4 different offenses. It's fumigated. Not sure how we're going to do this. And this lady comes out. She's like, I already been there. They ransacked my apartment, blah, blah, blah. And she's bitching and complaining. She's upset. Understandably so. And I go, okay, well, we'll have to come back some other time and blah, blah. And she's like, no. Like, go in there. And she just opens it up like a circus tent. FTO's like, I'm not going in there, but Junior, you got a report to take. So, like, hold my breath. Here comes nothing, right? So I'm walking around this sumbitch, and the only thing I could think of is that scene in Joe Dirt where he thinks he's part of a traveling circus, and then he starts playing with the toaster and putting lipstick on. I was like, I'm gonna head home and just be like, oh my God, playing with the toaster. So we're walking through this, and this lady is, she's just a special breed, obnoxious. And like I said, duplex, 2-story, not the cleanest duplexes to begin with. I don't know what you could tell that had been put out of place or not.
Yeah.
But apparently she did. So we go upstairs and she's just like, yeah, and I'm missing this and this and this. And then she stops dead in her tracks. She goes, oh no, I didn't put that there. I go, what? And there's just this hogger of a dildo sitting on the nightstand. She goes, that was in my drawer. And so I'm envisioning that there was probably some punk ass kids in there. They found this, like, hey, and just like, damn, forgot to put it back in the right place. She's really upset though, and she grabs it. She's just like, here, fingerprint. I don't know what it is about people wanting me to fingerprint their sex toys. Apparently, I got some aura I give off, and I'm just
we're gonna find DNA on it, lady. Yours.
Yeah. And I'm just like, hey, at a certain point, I think I'm like hallucinating in this fumigated tent. Like, this can't be real life.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, yeah.
Waving a dildo at me.
Go ahead and put that down. We'll get back to it. And so I come out, and then, like, the other people that lived there had showed up, but none of them wanted to go into the fumigated duplex. Thank God.
Yeah.
So I just had to go with this one lady. Come out and tell the same FTO. I was like, she wanted me to fingerprint her dildo. And he's just like, well, did you? I go, fuck no. And I think at this point, like, my response to him, like, garnered some respect. He's like, thank God. You know, like, it's just like, absolutely not. Oh, gross. But yeah, I was just like, between going into this circus tent of fumigation, and this like, I didn't leave it there. I was like, what? And like, oh my God. And then she's just, fingerprint this.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Nice. Oh, all right. Talk to us about the, we say cross-dressing? We haven't decided. Cross-dressing prostitutes.
Yeah,
so, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
So in the impact unit, another quality of life issue, we dealt with prostitution. And we'd assist our vice unit or anybody that was doing ops with prostitution, and we'd go out and be their transport or do other stuff, whatever they needed, right?
Yeah.
But generally there was like a paddy wagon out there, and we had a staging spot, and once the paddy wagon's full, take them and come back. And so we get called, me and my partner, we're like a staging car in case anybody tries to go pursuit or something. And they call us over to the paddy wagon. I'm like, why would they need us over there? It's all females. Like, we're not going to search the females and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of confused. Whatever. Hey, what's up? And they're like, hey, one of them's a dude. It's like, oh, okay, no big deal. And dude walks out of the paddy wagon, and the dude looked better than most of the chicks in the paddy wagon. I was just like, oh boy, this is not impressive by any means of the imaginary, but
Yeah.
I mean, girls, you need to work on your game. Like, this guy's showing you up, you know? And once dude starts talking, you know it's dude, whatever. And so
taking away women's sports.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah. All the sports. So now
Swimming, boxing, prostitution.
it's piqued my interest at this point. Just the presence, or I guess the act of prostitution in itself. It's some kind of sexual act for cost of money.
Yeah.
But if you're getting picked up by dudes, wouldn't you think a dude would be pretty upset thinking, hey, I'm getting a woman? So that's what's sparking my curiosity this whole time as we're driving this dude to jail. And so I asked him, I was like, what the hell happens when these other dudes find out you're a dude?
Like, do you tell them up front? Do you wait till you get in the car? You know what I
Right.
mean?
So
Yeah.
Dude says he doesn't tell him up front. It's kind of just like a Jack in the Box, I guess. Just like catch him off guard. And he goes into, well, I'm not from here. I do it in another city, and when that's happened, I've gotten beat up. I've gotten knives pulled on me, guns pulled on me, like, and that's why I left that town. I go, well, how's it work in this town? He goes, honestly, I think he said like 80% of the time, he's just like, once they find out I'm a dude, they just start huffing me off. I'm like, wait, what? So this person went into the night willing to pay for sex with a female, then finds out it's not a female and just starts sucking your dick. And he's just like, yeah, it's amazing. And then I get paid. I was like, this is the wildest thing ever. Like, you're lying. And he's just like, why would I keep coming back, like, to your town? Like, and just dead ass serious. I was like, you got a point. Like, right? Yeah. I mean, at this point, somebody's pleasuring you and paying you.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds, I guess. I don't know. But it really boggled my mind. Psychologically, I try to take a deeper thought on a lot of the stuff we see out on the streets.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, what would a dude's reaction be when he finds out you're actually a man?
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, they usually just start huffing me off. Like, wasn't going to guess that answer, but here we are.
That reminds me, I got sent down there one time for one of the motels. We had to do some kind of op there, and we ended up clearing these 2 rooms, and there was a prostitute in one room by herself, and then another prostitute with John in a separate room. And we get everyone detained, and we get them out, and we have them all separated. And one of the guys I was with, Littlefield, he goes to the John, and he's like, and he says, like, you know, asks him what they were doing there. He admits to it. Yeah, he was paying for sex, and he said he was paying for oral sex. And Littlefield says, did you know going into this that was a man that you were with? And the guy's like shocked. He's like, what? Like, no. And unbeknownst to the guy, it wasn't. It was a chick, but he's just messing with him. I said, do you know that was a man? And the guy's like all freaked out, like, no. And he's like all disturbed by it, you know. And so like he's sitting there, and then they go to cut the 2 prostitutes loose, and he like gets the one out of the car that he was with, and as she's walking away, he's like, "Oh, have a good night, sir," and then she walks off, and then they give this guy a citation for the John. They issue him a citation for whatever it's soliciting for whatever it is.
So this guy,
and they give him his ticket and send him on his way, you know. And so like he goes off for the rest of his life thinking that he was there.
So he's not only debating his life decisions on picking up a prostitute, now he thinks he might be gay.
Yeah,
like, yeah. That he probably has some deep rooted issues, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a girl. We just told him it was a dude and sent him on his way. So yeah. Talk to us about, this is one of my favorites. Our friend Realidee. Not like life, but the name Realidee.
Realidee.
Yeah, that's a person's name.
So this story was actually while I was working under you as a senior. Mm-hmm. We get a call deep on the east side one night that there appears to be a lady walking around with a newborn baby in an alley.
And this is a place where they don't really call the police.
Never call the police. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. And it was like I think it was about this time of year, right? It was kind of cold outside. Mm-hmm. It was at night. So me and my partner drive over there, and we're hitting these alleys and can't find anyone. And not only in this area do they not call the police, they would never recontact the police if they see you in the area and missing someone, right?
Yeah.
So we're hitting every alley, can't find her. Get a call from another reporting party, like, she's there, she's running around, she's trying to dodge you guys. I'm like, what the hell? So we're spotlighting everything, and sure as shit, we spotlight her, and we finally find her, and she like looks back in the spotlight like a mongoose or something, like ready to make its next move on us. And so I get out of the car, and I see this person holding a baby. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is a legit call.
Yeah.
Like, you hear this kind of stuff, and you're like, She's
no
probably
way.
holding a baby doll or pushing a stroller full of cans. I don't know.
Yeah. Nobody gave birth to a baby in an alley.
Right, in the alley, and it's just walking around with it. Usually you're screaming or something. I don't know. And so I walk up, and it's late at night, and trying to illuminate with my flashlight, and this lady's just yelling at me like, no. She thinks she's possessed by the devil and that the light's going to melt her and the baby. And my main concern at this point is like, I need to check to see if this baby's breathing, assess the situation, because she's got baby high and tight like a football, you know, like a good running back would hold. And so I'm just, and she's doing this, yelling at me, getting all crazy. And I'm not trying to grab a lady that's holding a newborn baby and hurt the baby. So I'm trying my best to like look over, and at some point I could see that the baby was breathing. Okay, that's good. We're at least code 4 there.
But there were some indicators that this was a newborn baby.
Yes. So I start the ambulance because the umbilical cord was still attached, and kind of she was wearing sweatpants, and it's tucked into the sweatpants. And at first I didn't know what this big bulge was. I'm like, hey, what's in your pants? Because she keeps pulling it up, and then she pulls it out, and it's placenta, cord, the whole shebang. Like, how did you describe it?
It looked like she had her sweatpants up, and you could see the umbilical cord going from the baby down and then looping back up and then going into the sweatpants. Like it looked like she had a fucking wallet chain on.
Like a biker?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that's concerning. And there's no active bleeding or anything. Like even her sweatpants aren't like wet blood. It's all dried. It's like, how long ago did this woman give birth? And I had just came back from baby leave, so I was obviously an expert on birth giving and knew what comes out and what it looks like. And
was your wife up and running right away as soon as she had
Oh, yeah. I actually sent her to the alley too. Said, hey, there might be good eats down there, you know? And so it very concerning. We get medical aid there, and she still won't give up this baby. Like, the firefighters can't look at it. She's convinced the trees are talking to her, like the Wizard of Oz type shit, going crazy. But we get her on a gurney. It's like, okay, take her to the hospital. There is a catch-all hospital in our town that you go there for everything, right? Major, minor, and it's on the deep east side of town. So realistically, that's where we'd be going.
And this shouldn't be very shocking for them at that hospital.
No, this is normal stuff.
Normal stuff for them.
This lady insists on going to the only hospital on the west side of town, which this would be extremely shocking behavior to be sent there. And nowhere near where we're at. We're traveling over highways to get there and whole shebang. But she's insistent, and the ambulance goes, hey, she just gave birth. If she's insistent, like, we're going to take her to that hospital. No sweat off my back. Like, let's go to the hospital. So we get there, and I'm explaining the situation to these nurses. And as she's holding the baby with the umbilical cord in her sweats, yelling at every blinking light that's going off, and they're just like, why are you guys here? Why'd you bring her here? I was like, well, she insisted. They're like, you could have taken her to any hospital. Like, we're the furthest away. I go, yeah, but she really likes your hospitality. Like, obviously. I think she's had other kids. Maybe she had them here, you know.
A good experience.
Yeah.
Not in an alley.
They're pissed. They're just like, what the hell did you just bring us? And so the lady is batshit crazy. We're trying to give her, like, Gatorade and stuff, and she's kicking it out of officer's hand. She got one hand at this point handcuffed to the gurney, still won't let go of her kid. And we're trying to figure this out. Like, we need to get this kid. So we told her something along the lines like, hey, we need to get your baby some clothes, right?
Yeah.
The baby's cold. The baby's cold. Trying to reason with this woman that had no reasoning. And so we eventually pry the kid out. And at that point, we're keeping the child, right?
Yeah.
At the hospital. Social services are there. And so we're trying to figure out what we're going to do like the rest of this call. Okay, we've rescued the baby. Baby's code 4. We're good. Like, what do we do with her though? She just gave birth.
Yeah.
And she's, and like I said, I just came from the hospital because my wife had recently given birth, and I know they keep you for like 24, 48 hours observation.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling this to the nurse, like, okay, so you guys will keep her overnight or something. They're like, no, she's been cleared. I was like, been cleared? Like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, technically you guys don't know when she gave birth. She doesn't know when she gave birth. There was no active bleeding on scene, so it could have been 24 hours ago. So she didn't give birth here, and we have no idea, so we're going to clear her. Just like, okay, that's on you. I'm no medical professional, but whatever. So they just strapped this big old diaper on her, like baby Huey kind of,
Yeah,
like just massive diaper. And we're like, hey, we're gonna drive you back to where you need to go, but the baby's gonna stay here, right? And this is where it just gets real, because this whole time she thinks she's possessed by the devil. The lights are going to melt the baby. The trees are talking to her. Mm-hmm. And she just grabs the little pamphlet next to the bed and just, I don't remember if it was me, you, Caleb, but just smacks one of us in the chest and just goes, skin to skin contact. The baby needs skin to skin contact. As she's handcuffed over here, like going nuts. And it's just like, yes, that's what the baby needs right now, is your skin to skin contact as you were walking around for God knows how long with the placenta and umbilical cord tucked in your sweatpants.
Yeah.
And
it turns out she's an organic peanut butter mom.
And so to do our due diligence, we sent some other units over to where she was living. To ask some questions, like how the
last known address. She was living on the street.
Yeah, the last known address of some families or associates, whoever it was. Try to figure out when's the last time they saw her, why this 9-month pregnant woman is just walking around in an alley giving birth.
Reality.
Her
name is Reality.
And so one of our units goes over there and knocks on the door. Says he starts talking to somebody that appeared to be in the same mindset as Reality herself, right? Just doesn't know left from right, all over the place. Not a good situation. Mm-hmm. So our good officer...
It's a relative.
Yeah, a relative. Taking his job very serious and asking the right questions. Wraps it up by asking, is it safe to say you yourself have lost touch with reality for some time? And the answer is yes.
Yeah. Well, they hadn't seen her for like 6 months.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Yeah. Like, yes to actually not seeing reality and being out of touch with her, but also yourself.
Yeah, good for him.
That when he came back and told us that one-liner, I was just like, that's clever.
Yeah.
That's pretty clever, bud. But yeah, just going from not letting us even see the baby to the skin-to-skin contact to the hospital just chalking this one up as at least 24 hours old.
They were not prepared.
No. I hope they at least backdated the baby's date of birth to the day before, since they were claiming it had been 24 hours.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, man. All right. Well, Phil, thank you for coming out and talking to us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thank you to everybody for listening, and stay frosty. We didn't talk about the poop buckets.